Hi everyone, today I'm going to talk about a new deck which I have got, which is the Fate Flower Tarot deck. This deck, I have been thinking about it a few years ago when it first came out. I followed this artist on the Japanese art site. This artist came up with a deck of cards based upon the game Fate Grand Order or the Fate series. I did watch some of the anime series from this franchise such as Fate Stay Night, Fate Zero. I also played the mobile game Fate Grand Order. You can see that I do like this franchise quite a lot. I bought Nandroids, which do not cost cheap. And then I've also bought this folder drawn by one of my favorite artists from the franchise. Not that it is a very exceptional game, but I enjoy that I'm able to hear the voice artist talk, and I am also able to see a lot of beautiful artworks from different types of artists. This deck itself is a fan-made deck. The artist first made a deck from this series. It was very scattered. When I saw that the artist came up with this deck, Fate Flower, I was instantly intrigued because firstly, it's a full deck, and then as you will see later, the minor arcana are not the peak style deck. There are a lot of decks with very beautiful major arcana and court cards, but then when it comes to the minor rest of the card, the deck, it is peak deck. So I do not want that kind of deck anymore, and I was very happy to see that it isn't the case for this deck. So I instantly put it on my wish list, although I said that I do not want any deck anymore. And secondly, the art does correspond very well to the tarot system we know, especially the Rider-Waite. And thirdly, it's because the Fate Grand Order characters have added an oriental twist to the whole deck itself. I do like an oriental twist to my deck, which is influenced by anime as well, which is what this deck achieved. You will notice that this deck is pretty big size. It is even bigger than my palm. So I do not think that it will make for a good overhand shuffling and all that. And then the cardstock is a bit glossy, but actually it exceeded my expectations, because my previous experiences with this kind of fan-made deck is that it's very glossy, and the deck there's a holographic aging, and this is my first deck with this kind of aging. Came with the deck, so you can see it's kind of like a photo album thing, and you can put your cards, slot it in. But I guess I won't be using this. I will be using the deck, and it won't be a collector's item only deck. And then there's a little white book, which is very as what my friend said when she saw it, it is very, very basic. Actually, there's only like 2 lines per card, one for the upward meaning and one for the reverse meaning, but it's all in Mandarin. So I believe those who do not understand the language will find it very hard to understand what are the cards about if you are a beginner. I also like that they wrote what is the character, who is the character in this card, although I do not know some of those who were depicted. And then you will notice later that there are a flower theme, which is why this deck is called Fate Flower, and there's also a description on what the flower meant. What I also like as well is that underneath the title, for example the Empress, you'll see a small line of words here, and when I read the words, I think that it is something that the artist and the team added, but I can also see the characters themselves saying these words. It really fits their character as well. Okay, there's a magnetic box as well, which is quite sturdy, and called Inochi no Hana, so flower of life. And you can see this theme in the flower of life design here, and also in the back. As a side note also, I was very, very, very happy with this deck. A lot of thought was put into the design of this deck. Although it does differ from what the character wears in the original series, the new design of the clothes doesn't diminish their characteristics or their characters in the series itself. There are 2 full cards. Okay, so these 2 characters are the main characters of the Fate Grand Order game: Magician, 诸葛亮, High Priestess. So as I do the flip through, you all can also pause the video to have a look at the borders. I think it's very pretty. And for example, this Hierophant, you can see the keys, which are what we typically see in the Rider-Waite-Smith and other inspired decks. You will see some characters which looks almost the same, but if you play the game, you will know that there are some quite well-loved characters, and the creator's choice to make different versions of this character for this is my favorite character here, although in this deck, this version did not appear. So my friend, when she saw this deck, she was like, this isn't the devil. It doesn't feel like the devil. But if you play the game, you'll know that this character calls herself the Demon King. This is the card, the star, which made me want to buy this deck. This is one of the first character that joined my team when I first entered this game. And I quite like this card as well, because this is chrysanthemum, and this flower is quite important in my life. Alright, so now we go on to the suits. So for example, the Ace of Wands and the Two of Wands, you will see that it is not really a pick deck per se. As you go on, you can see how the creator also includes some Rider-Waite-Smith inspiration inside. So for example, in this Four of Wands, I saw in the Little White Book that there's only this character here, Enkidu, but if you look closely, you'll notice that Gilgamesh is also here. One way the Rider-Waite-Smith is very, very prominent. Eight of Wands with the flying wands. Yep, that's him. So for the court cards itself, there's a common theme whereby you look at the wheel behind and it shows the 12 animals of our Chinese zodiac. So Queen of Wands, my friend was saying this looks a bit out of place in this card, but if you play the game, you'll know that Queen made this plushie for Cuchulainn. So Ace suit. This is actually from the Garden of Sinners. So Four of Cups, you can see the cup being offered being ignored. So the same wheel. Now the cups. If you play the game itself, I mean you watch Fate Zero at the very least, you will have known who these three characters are, and they are a family. So there's a bit of consistency in the court family. So For example, it's clear that they are a family, but then the Page of Cups is just a playable character within the series itself. If you want to get this deck and to use it, it might help to be a bit more knowledgeable about the background behind each characters. Very Rider-Waite-Smith. And then the Pentacle suit. Alright, I hope you enjoy this kind of flip through and thoughts about this deck. Bye!